Hi, I'm Yvette Hernandez.
And I'm Raquel Paulino.
And you're watching American Hispanics, The Journey, where our Hispanic community tunes in weekly to hear what is good and to learn about the journey to the American dream. Raquel, we have so many good things to talk about today. I'm so glad you're on my show, co-hosting with me. Muchacha!
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. And where have you been working on this before? On the different shows?
No, this is my first time.
Oh man, she's the first
excited.
timer, guys. But you know what? She is hot. She's an educator. She works here in Georgia. What's the name of the school you work for?
I work for Little Linguist International Preschool.
Excellent. I love it. And you know, our Hispanic people, you know, we stay educated. We go to school. We do some things. We are in the community doing some good stuff. And this is Raquel's, you know, her profession. And I love the fact that you're educating our people. And do we have a lot of Hispanics in your school?
We do not have a whole lot of Hispanics, but we are sharing our culture, we're sharing our language, and making sure that everybody is not so intimidated when they see a Spanish speaker.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. And today's topics are going to be, we're going to be talking about how the American culture affects the Hispanic community. We're going to be talking about how the immigration laws have been affecting our Hispanic community, how our Hispanic people feel about that. And we're going to be talking about arroz con pollo. Oh, no, it's not arroz con pollo. I keep saying that.
Arroz con habichuela.
I keep saying, it's arroz con habichuela. That's our fun topic for today. I'm so glad you reminded me of that because I don't know, I must be hungry. I keep talking about arroz con pollo. I want my mother to make that for me. But anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to our first topic today. We want to talk about what's going on in our community. We want to talk about what's going on nationwide. We want to talk about what's going on with politics. And basically, there's new laws out there talking about immigration laws. They want to attack the immigrants. But I feel sometimes that they're attacking mostly Hispanics. I don't know if you feel the same about that, Raquel.
I mean, I don't feel exactly the same. I do feel that Latinos are targeted. It's obvious. It's part of what the platform that the president ran on, obviously. Right. But I do also believe that there's some great things happening in immigration and that the United States of America is still the land of the free and giving us some asylum to like the Venezuelan population.
Definitely. You know, but sometimes we're looking around and we see that, and you know, something you said to me earlier made me think that maybe I'm being biased because I'm Hispanic. Because you said something about that there's a lot of us. There's a lot of Hispanics. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of different countries. You got Puerto Rico, you got Dominican Republic, you got Cuba, you got what's any other country?
Venezuela, Peru, Guatemala.
Yes. So yes, there are a lot of Hispanics in the United States. So when you see a lot of people being deported, the majority are Hispanic. So we think we're being targeted.
Right.
But sometimes I'm afraid for my son. I think that because he looks very Hispanic, that they're going to start this new movement of stopping us and asking us for our papers. How out in the world are you going to prove that you are legal here in the United States without showing some, I don't know. I mean, what are we going to show me? Because they were saying something about having the officers start sending people or deporting people.
Well, racial profiling is real, and we know that that is definitely happening. Right. So we don't want to discount that. Right. However, my counsel, I always tell my nephew, I tell all the little boys around me, make sure that you do have your ID. Right. And if you don't have your ID, that's okay. Right. Stay calm, answer the questions appropriately, and
that's a good
live to tell about the story.
Yes.
Let's not get into battles and arguments.
Yes. No, it's important that we tell our children stuff like that. I mean, that's something that we need to educate our Hispanic community to stay calm. I mean, if you do get pulled over, just give them the information they're asking for and keep on moving.
Right.
Because my son did get stopped. He got stopped in Florida. He was there with his friends, and he looks very Hispanic. And they asked him, "How old are you? What's your birthday? Where are you from? And where's your mom?" Like a whole bunch of questions. Poor thing. I mean, he's only 16, so he's like, "Why are they questioning me so much? And what's the problem? You know, I'm going to the store to get some candy and some chips." And this officer is treating me like
a criminal.
A criminal, right? I mean, terrible. He felt so terrible. He came home and told me all about it, and it broke my heart because I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen if they continue doing this, you know, to our kids. You know?
Definitely, immigration laws are here to protect us. I think that's the intent.
Right. It is.
And so you know how those crazy stories happened in Dominican Republic about the Haitians coming over.
Yes.
And it was so polarized. Yes. He would go on Facebook and my aunt was arguing with me. She was like, "You don't know anything." I was like, well, how could Dominicans feel the right to just support the Haitians that have been
Right.
there, part of our community,
Oh my
helping
goodness.
us. And I was so passionate until I started to look at the numbers.
Right.
And it was over 5 million Haitians.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, the infrastructure is definitely not large enough
Right.
to take care of that many people, Haitian, Chinese. It didn't really matter.
Right, it didn't really matter.
And so then I started to relate that to the United States and our deportation issues. And I said, we are huge.
Right.
We definitely have a financial structure and we can handle
Right.
the populations coming.
Right.
However, to what point?
Up to what point? That's right. So,
And-
so that's the good point. We're looking at both sides. What do you guys think? I want you to guys go on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, and let us know what you think about this topic. Tell us what you
Right.
think about it, and tell us what your feelings are. We'd love to hear what you got to say about that. That was a
Definitely.
great. I like what you had said about that, because that is great, and I'd love to hear what our audience have to say about that.
Did you know, Yvette, that right now, as of February 2017, Venezuela has requested more asylum than the Chinese community.
Oh, I
And
didn't know
so
that.
it is we're about to 18,000 requested asylum, and they're
Wow.
here because the political climate is awful
Right,
in Venezuela.
Mhm, that's
No hay
right.
medicina, no hay comida,
That's right.
there's nothing.
No hay nada.
No hay
Entonces
nada.
vienen para los Estados Unidos a hacer una vida mejor para su familia, pero tienen que hacerse legal. And so it makes it difficult for them
And
to
it is-
become legal now more than ever.
But they're doing it.
Right.
And they're being granted asylum.
Okay.
And the ones that are doing it through the documentation process, through the application, are being granted 2 years.
Right.
Because there's a backlog.
Right.
There's so many Venezuelans
So
here.
there is a process
There is
to
a
get legalized.
process.
So if you're out there and you're not legal, please know that there is a process out there. There are laws that are going to help you, especially if you're from Venezuela. There's something out there for you. Please go to your local library and go to your local government. Find someone to help you. You have family members here that are legal
Right.
already. See what you can do to fill out your paperwork and see if you can get yourself legalized. I really like that. Thank you, Raquel, for bringing that
Documentation,
up.
There's definitely a process for everything.
That's right.
And fear is the number one way
That's
to
right.
remain in the
And you're
corners.
staying hidden. Come
hidden.
out of the shadows, please. Come out of the shadows. Please come out and become legal. We would love to have you guys do the right thing, and we want you to acquire your American dream, because this is what this show is all about: getting your journey, getting to your American dream.
Definitely.
And we know you guys have some great ideas, but. Oh, that was great. I'm so glad that we
Thank
talked
you,
about that. That's a
Yvette.
lot of education for our people. But if you're just tuning in, you're watching American Hispanics, The Journey. I'm Yvette Hernandez.
And I'm Raquel Paulino. And we're going to take a short break, but we're going to be right back.
The Journey, where our Hispanic community tunes in weekly to hear what is good and to learn about the journey to the American dream. Hey, we're back. I'm Yvette Hernandez.
And I'm Raquel Paulino.
And you guys are watching American Hispanics and their journey. Don't forget. Guys, we have some more. That was great. We had a great topic at the beginning. It was awesome. We talked about education. We talked about there's a lot of asylum and deportation and all that good stuff. The laws and things like that. We want to make sure you guys are staying educated. We did get a few tweets during during our little break, and we heard what you guys had to say. I really like what you guys had to say about our topics. Thank you so much for joining us and tweeting us, and all those people on Instagram as well. They left us a couple of messages, so we like that. Please keep doing that and continue to watch us and giving us. Oh wait, somebody had said that they did think that immigration laws are affecting the Hispanics. So that's what they, so there was a lot more tweets about thinking, yes, we're being targeted than the other way. So there was more than the other. And now we're going to talk about how the American culture affects our Hispanics. Man, I'm telling you, it affects us big time, especially those that are born here in the United States. Me, my children. Not as much me, because for some reason, both my parents being Dominican, they really instilled their culture in me, and they fed me a lot of Hispanic food, which I really, really like. So I'm trying to feed my children.
Como si tú fueras un porquito, they fed you.
Oh, no, mommy always feeding me. And one of my favorites is maicena. And I've taught my son to eat maicena. Maicena is like cream of wheat, and we sweeten it up. We kind of use the sugar, we use the cinnamon, and we make it like a hot cereal. And that my son will eat. That's one of the things that we do in our culture. But then I try to feed him green bananas, and he's like, ew, what's that? Green bananas.
Ya se acabaron los plátanos en la casa de Yvette.
See, no more plátanos for me. And I love it so much. I mean, I love having it for breakfast. You can eat it for dinner. You can have it for lunch. You can have it at any time. And basically, I can't cook it because I hate cooking just for me.
Right.
So
that's boring.
What's up with that?
Well, same
That's
thing
how
in
the
my
American
house.
culture has affected me.
Right.
They rather eat pizza. They rather eat like what? Oh, Chinese. Is that American? That's not really American. Anything that
And if they
that's
do
not
eat,
Hispanic.
And if they eat pasta, they want garlic bread.
Oh yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, in my house, we have been traveling, and we recently went to Cuba. We wanted them to enjoy like the Caribbean, and so we get there. There's these fresh fruits, and these kids want to get pancakes.
Oh, great.
I was like, what?
Pancakes.
We came to Cuba to eat pancakes.
We went all the way to Cuba to eat pancakes. And the Cubans were like, what is pancake? ¿Qué lo que es pancake?
No, let me tell you guys the story.
You're like, pancake.
The kids asked for cereal. They brought hot milk and they poured it on the cereal. And the kids were appalled. They were like, what's going on with my cereal?
My cereal's heated. They got hot cereal. Whoa, okay.
And I was like, just eat the food.
Yeah, and they just eat it.
Just eat
Don't
it.
make them feel bad.
Right. And so, I mean, definitely, you see it in food, but more importantly, I see it in language.
Okay, okay.
I work at a dual language immersion school, and all of the children that are trying to keep their language or acquire a new language, they're struggling.
That's right.
Because there's not enough value in knowing more than English.
Well, it has affected my family. It has affected my family really, really bad when it comes to language because my son knows Spanish. My daughter, yeah, ella habla español. Ella le gusta, you know. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching American Hispanics, The Journey, and we have a great interview coming up, and that was great. I'm glad we talked about the culture and all that, but we do have a great interview for you, so we'd like to introduce that to you.
Yes, Yvette. And I promise that you guys are really going to enjoy this next interview. So stay tuned.
The Journey, where our Hispanic community tunes in weekly to hear what is good and to learn about the journey to the American dream.
If you have a story to tell, make sure you hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or even send us an email. You never know, your story could be aired on our next show.
Watching American Hispanics, The Journey, and I'm here with Evelyn Moreno. Evelyn, we just heard about how you came in. You came in with a visa. When you first landed in the United States, you landed in Miami.
Miami.
And you loved Miami so much. You lived there for how many years?
9 years.
9 years. What was your first job that you got?
The first job that I have there is I use my truck.
Okay.
Yes, to have childs to go to the school to pick it up and drop from this one school from another one.
Okay, so you were dropping children off from one school to another, driving them around.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to be in 5 different schools at the same time.
Oh my goodness, from one place to the other. And how was your English at that point? I mean, were you able to communicate?
No, the good thing is because in Miami, you don't need to speak too much English, you know?
Okay.
Because so many Latin people live over there.
Okay.
The problem starts when I come to Georgia.
Okay.
Because nobody is speaking Spanish.
Okay. So once you moved to Georgia, what moved you to Georgia?
9 years later, then I live in Miami.
You moved to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you come to Georgia?
The first reason is because, you know, in Georgia, you can live by the country. I don't know in the city because I never live in Atlanta.
Okay.
By the way, I live in the country in some parts very distant. I have a very distant from the city.
Okay.
I feel safe, quiet, you know.
So
It's
Georgia made that for you.
Yes, it's a country, it's safe, and you live, you know,
nice
quality
and
life.
Quality
I love
life,
it,
good.
yes.
And you got a job here and you had to learn English.
Oh my goodness.
How was that?
Let me tell you, when I come here to Georgia, I'm so happy because everything around the forest, I love it.
Right.
And I say, oh, that's the real America, you know?
Right.
Yes.
That's
And
beautiful.
I say, but I have a big problem. Nobody is speaking Spanish.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
many people in Miami. I speak Spanish with everybody.
Right.
And how that I gonna do it right here? I don't feel well because every time when I go somewhere, everybody is speaking English, and I just only hear about it, and I hear, and I hear, and I say, Evelyn, that's no for me.
Right.
You come here, I need to know.
Excellent. How about la música latina? Do you still get out
salsa,
there? Yeah. And you do the merengue and all that?
I love dancing.
Wonderful.
I love dancing.
Well, yes. We're here with Evelyn Moreno. Thank you, Evelyn, for being with us today. It was awesome to hear your story. You're very inspiring. Thank you for inspiring us today. You inspired me so much today. And I'm so glad to have you. Thank you, Evelyn. You did a great job. Muchas gracias, mi amiga. Raquel, that was a great interview.
I loved it.
Oh, I loved it. I loved everything. The education part, how they learned English, how they made it to their American dream. You know, everybody's American dream is different. You
And
know?
the success, it's so inspiring that
Isn't
you're
it?
not doing it alone, that our
Right.
children are not going to be
Yes.
without a model,
That's
without
right.
somebody who's done it.
Oh my gosh, we want to all get into it. You know, everyone has their American dream, and I love the fact that you know how it went, how they made it to that place.
And they allowed us
to. It's a journey to get there. It's sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes you have prejudice. Sometimes you have some things that make you fall back and think maybe I should go back to my country. But no, you push forward. You push forward. You push forward, and you get what you want. Isn't that? I mean, I love that. I love that about America, which it allows us to do all that. That interview was awesome. I hope that you guys got something out of it, some education out of it. And please tweet us and let us know how you liked the interview. Raquel, we have so much to talk about. We got our fun topic to talk about. Remember I was saying like arroz, what was I saying?
Arroz con pollo, but
that's
that
not
is not it.
That's
It's
not what it is. That's not what,
arroz con
I'm hungry.
habichuela.
I want arroz con pollo. But yeah, arroz con habichuela. I want to know why? Because most of us, I don't know, I think in a lot of the Latin countries, they have arroz con habichuela, but they call it something different. I mean, the Dominicans have two ways of calling that.
Right.
We say arroz con habichuela
Y moro.
and moro, which is, well, because we mix it,
We
right?
mix it.
You take the rice and you put the beans in it together and you cook it together, and that's what we call moro.
From the Christians and the Moors. You mix it, the colonial days, and ta-da-da.
And tararan, that's what
We're
you get.
eating
You
moro.
eat it. So when we call it arroz con habichuela, it's because we have the white rice and the red beans on the side.
Correct.
So that's the rice arroz con habichuela.
And that's Dominicans.
And that's Dominicans.
And some Caribbeans, like maybe Puerto Ricans and Cubans.
But what do other countries call it?
But when I got here in Georgia, I go to a restaurant, I said, I would like some arroz con habichuela. And they were like,
What's that?
habichuelas.
Habichuelas. What is it?
What is that? And so, maybe you are referring to frijoles. And I was like, yes, I am.
But that's refried beans. That's nothing like it, right?
No. It wasn't refried beans. It was just the actual legume.
Oh.
It was just a bean.
Oh, great.
But they call it frijoles.
Tasty. Oh, frijoles.
Frijoles.
Okay, so did they make it any tastier? Like
Well,
like
you know,
they make it?
Dominicans put a lot of garlic, a lot of onions, and if you go into our more
That's
urban places, the MSG, the Goya seasonings,
Ooh, I love
and
it.
so not so much in other cultures, but that's okay because you get used to it. It's different flavors. Everybody is sharing a little bit of who they are
Right.
and their journey through their food.
So have you been able, here in Georgia, do we have any Dominican restaurants out there? We need to hear from you because we'd love to see you on our show because we want to see if you got some arroz con habichuela, man. Because
And
we've
one
been
of those,
looking for you.
one of those $3 plates that you can just swing by
You know
and
what
real
I'm
quickly
saying?
because
Like pitos. You want pitos?
I love pitos.
You're from Providence like me, right?
I am.
They have pitos, girl. They have the arroz con habichuela. It's good.
Tons
I love
of it.
Love it. With the tostones and stuff on it. So good. So please let us know, guys. Please hit us on Twitter and let
Where
us
can
know.
me and Yvette go get the same experience?
We want some arroz con habichuela, people.
Believe
Feed
it or not.
us. Feed us. We got so much to talk about, Raquel. I can't forget that we have some educational things to tell you guys about. We want to make sure that you guys get to make sure you register to vote. We want all our Hispanic community to be ready for voting. We want you guys to always be out there because sometimes I feel that we're not pulling, our numbers when it comes to voting and getting out there and doing what you got to do. So
Right.
we want you to go out there, and I know they've been closing a few of our DMVs here in Georgia. The one near my house,
I didn't know that.
they closed it. But I think that they said they've closed it because they were going to put it at another location because it was bigger. But my father-in-law seems to have a theory. He seems to think that they've closed it because they want to make it more difficult for our people to vote. What do you think, Raquel?
Well, it's been proven again and again. So that just makes us to have to do our job and do it well.
Right.
Make sure you have your license
Have your license.
when you go vote.
That's right.
Make sure you have your voter ID card.
That's right.
And these are very simple things to do.
Right.
People make such a big deal about having their voter ID card or their license. This is just the protocol. It is the procedure.
Yes.
Yvette, we cannot let them not let us vote.
That's right.
Because we
That's
don't have
right.
our
No,
IDs.
we want our numbers to be out there.
Get out there
Especially-
early.
Yes.
Vote early. If you have any snags,
Yes,
go
man.
back
Yes.
the next day.
That's right.
Don't wait till the last minute at 8 o'clock at night when the polls are closing.
Yes, and just because they're closing these locations, don't worry about it. Find the location, get there somehow. There's a lot of transportation now here in Georgia. I see a lot of buses coming to and from the city. Get yourself to a location and make sure you vote. Guys, I'm so glad that we're talking about that we've educated you a little bit. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching American Hispanics, The Journey. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Thank you for watching. I'm Yvette Hernandez.
And I'm Raquel. Thank you for watching our show. And please connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and let us know what you think.
And yes, at this time, I would like to invite our local businesses that cater to our Hispanic community. Please join us. Let us come see you. We want to hear your story. We want to hear your journey. We want to know what your American dream is all about. We'd love to broadcast from your location, so please contact us. I'm Yvette.
And I'm Raquel.
Hasta la vista.
See you next time.